Hello, hello, Weeblets, light novel readers in every phase in between. I'm Zack.
And I'm Shawn.
And this is Low Key Weeb. It's time for you to pull out those body pillows, hang up your waifu wall scrolls, and we're going to let our shame fly for a little bit. I hope you brought your blanket, because we've already got the pillows, and we're going to take a deep dive into the fever dream that is FLCL.
This series is about a boy named Naota who lives in a town that he describes as a place where nothing out of the ordinary ever happens until he encounters a pink-haired girl on a yellow Vespa wielding a bass guitar. From there, his entire life turns upside down.
So, if you haven't seen it yet, there's just a lot to take in here, and it is one of the strongest recommendations I can give to anybody. Half of it's just because it's 6 episodes, and everybody's got time for 6 episodes.
Yeah, it's not a huge time sink. It's about a movie length.
Pretty much, and there's a lot to bring in there. I mean, there's really never a dull moment. They make use of every minute of the screen time that you're watching.
Absolutely. My eyes were glued to the screen for the entire time.
So we're going to kind of dive into everything that happens. So if you haven't seen it and you want to watch it, why don't you head out and come on back later. So here's your spoiler warning. We're going to take a look at the cast first. So, I mean, you've got Naota, who's our main character. Mm-hmm. His older brother's ex-girlfriend, but she doesn't know it yet, Mamimi. And then, really, you've got Haruko, and then Canti, who's the TV-headed robot, and then Naota's piece of shit dad.
And let's not forget his piece of shit grandfather as
well. Yeah. So really, I feel like if I could rename it, I would call it adults pushing their emotional baggage on a child.
That is a little on the nose for a title, though.
A little too much. It might scare some people away.
Smash cut to Naota getting obliterated with a bass guitar on a bridge.
and that's where it all really starts.
Yeah, it kicks off the action super quick. Naota, as we said, gets absolutely crushed with a bass guitar and suddenly sprouts a horn, or what looks to be a horn. And obviously he is not happy about this, and neither is Mamimi, who is just worried that...
Freaking out because Haruko just throws a napkin on his face and screams, "He's dead!"
Yes. Yeah, she completely sells the fact that he's dead. I fully believe that she intended to kill him that first time around.
And so, I mean, really, it's just the horn is the plot at this point, actually throughout the series. And I'm real sure that it is just, I mean, it's a coming of age or...
It's an anti-coming-of-age story in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It really just hates on adults that don't have their shit together, which is okay if you're there, but don't take it out on your kids.
Absolutely not. They're innocent bystanders.
But really, there's just a lot of puberty references, or even just the horn, a horn that he can't control when things are going wrong or when things happen with women. A lot of just adolescent undertones here.
And not so subtle phallic references.
I mean, it's a little bit, it's kind of square in their defense.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, that's a valid point.
So really, and this is all in the first episode, and what's really just the biggest hook for it that I took away the first time I watched it was just the action in this first episode really sells you. And Canti's just cool as shit.
Yeah, we aren't really formally introduced to him yet, but that first episode, they really do sell the action. Within the first couple minutes, they go through a couple different animation switch-ups.
Throughout the whole series, too.
Well, yeah.
They do it there as well. They do it every couple seconds.
Yeah, they do. But for, they really kick the action into high gear. They go do the whole slow-mo Matrix camera turning effect, all of that. Oh, yeah.
And something I like about this show is I feel like breaking the fourth wall can be delicate. It can just come off as way too cheesy. For me, it's not in this series. Because, at one point... after they're doing the slow-mo, it cuts to the cast sitting in a van just talking about how hard those slow-mo scenes are to do because...
They have to hold their breath the entire time.
And I think what makes it feel less campy is that Naota's just wait, what? You guys were holding your breath?
Yes. He's not in on the joke at all.
Right. And just everything about the series from minute one is charming, and it pulls you in. And like they really, I mean, compared to most shows, I feel like they kind of ease you in, that they kind of go fast at first, but they do ease you in because the first fight is just against a robot's hand.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me anyways.
I'm pretty sure it's the hand.
That's what it was shooting for anyhow.
I'm pretty sure it's the one from the one in the second episode.
Yeah, you're right.
Because I think he comes out with just one. He's just got a taser on there instead of the fancy rope shit.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and into the next episode, you do, like they do expand on that more. And I feel like I haven't touched base on this, like, which is pretty important. Those horns that he has end up being things that are being teleported. His head, pretty much, when she hit him in the head, it became a portal. And so all this shit coming out of his head is just coming through the portal in his head?
Yeah, it's like a portal across space and time to pull monsters or technology through.
Really just anything. Because, I mean, really at one point, Haruko just is freaking elbow deep in his dome.
Which is really unsettling the first time you're watching.
It's kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just so when after they took care of everything at the end of that first episode, Haruko smashes Canti in the back of his head, and he changes colors from red to like a greenish.
A greenish blue, maybe a blue gray. It depends on what you're watching it on.
Right. And so that's just like your two different Cantis. One is just an absolute badass. The other, they make do dishes. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all about Canti supremacy. I think he is like the biggest Chad in this series.
He is the best person morally and ethically in this entire series.
But I feel like he just doesn't talk, and that's half the battle.
Yes.
But even at one point in we'll just segue and move forward into what happens in the next episode, is while talking to Haruko about like who she is or what she is, she does this big extravagant clothes change and strums her guitar and says she's a space alien, and Canti's just there right underneath her with like spirit fingers. Like he supports where he's needed, and that's what he's about.
He's being the best hype man he can without using words. and
he sells it. And so throughout the rest of the early episodes, it's just you're kind of getting to know everybody. You're getting to know Naota, you're getting to know Haruko, Mamimi, and that piece of shit dad.
Super creepy dad.
He's so creepy. He's always just creeping on Haruko so bad. And especially when they find out that Haruko is like he ends up hiring her as a cleaner, maid.
Same thing.
Well,
live-in
maid. And so they do this. And again, this goes with the best way to explain this show, how it's directed and how it's animated, is that it's polarizing. And so it feels chaotic, and I really feel like that adds to the story a lot. So when Naota first finds out that Haruko's living with him, they cut to a manga scene.
Yeah.
And so it's just everybody arguing or talking or screaming through they're showing the manga panels, and they end up bringing it back later too, which is just hilarious. But I mean, really, something to know about it is, I mean, if you're here, I'm sure you do. But it's so charming how polarizing it is, because you'll go in 0.3 seconds from a really beautiful or touching moment to just straight fucking Looney Tunes.
Yeah, you could totally see Haruko painting a tunnel on a wall and someone running into it.
1,000%. I am not convinced that that's not actually in it. So, by the time we end up getting, deeper into the second episode, and you're really just finding out that everybody's just emotionally leaning on Naota, especially Mamimi. And so Mamimi had dated Naota's brother, who moved away to play baseball in America. And
what she doesn't know is that Naota's brother, Taksu, has an American girlfriend. Tasku, thank you. Names are hard. Names are really difficult.
Names are really hard. I struggle with it all the time. I literally just most of the time write them down so I can look at them with pronunciations.
Yeah, that was a big swing and a miss on my part. Anyways, she doesn't realize that Tasku has an American girlfriend now.
Mm-hmm. And so when when it finally comes down to it at leading into the peak of the episode is Naota tells her and she just starts freaking out. And generally, like when things happen with the phallic horns, it comes from an emotional response from him. And anytime something starts happening, there is a giant building called Medical Mechanica that starts sounding alarms and blowing out steam.
Because it's shaped like a giant iron, so of course it's going to give off steam.
Yeah, the whole Medical Mechanica thing is kind of convoluted. But, it's just charming.
All you really need to know is that it exists, it's in the shape of an iron, and it usually is used to, like, signal emotional moments.
And it is also just a faceless villain.
Yeah, that too.
Kind of, I guess.
By the end you find out. But,
yeah. And so when she starts freaking out, his head starts growing, and instead of just a robot hand coming out, a huge-ass robot pops out. And this whole scene is just so well choreographed that, this series is one that really got me into anime in the first place. When it was streaming back in the 2000s. So when it was airing on Adult Swim, I was like 15 or something, and I'd watched DBZ before. I was aware of Evangelion, but it's like the first show that I just really got pulled into, and so it's just like a landmark for me. And really, one of my favorite things in any anime is like during this fight, Canti ends up eating Naota. And he goes from green to red again. And anytime things turn around, they start playing a song from The Pillows, who did the whole soundtrack, and it's amazing.
Highly recommended.
When you watch it, I really recommend, if you don't usually pay attention to the soundtrack, listen to it. They did such an astounding job. And so at the end of every episode, when they are about to fix the problem, the song Little Busters plays. And just because, how the show made me feel then, that song still carries just such a warmth with me. And anytime I'm having a bad day, I listen to it, and I just always perk up.
Can confirm he will start humming the melody to himself when he's having a bad day.
I'm not crazy. I'm tired. But this whole fight scene's great. And once, he turns red.
He uses Naota like a power-up.
He does, and just one of my favorite scenes in the whole series, which I'll probably say that 20 times today. I love it when in anime you have just a titan of a monster swing at somebody smaller, and they just stop it without budging. And Canti just does it like the robot swings at him, and he just stops it with one arm, doesn't budge, and then does like a triple flip kick to knock it away. And it's just the coolest shit I'd ever seen at that point. Still pretty high up there, but it's just like how well it was choreographed and how excessive that flip was made it so fucking sweet.
Oh, yeah. It being so over the top is really part of the charm for me.
And really, it's just this whole episode is, especially rewatching it, is when I'm really appreciating again the polarity of this show, because earlier in the episode, Mamimi sees Canti for the first time.
Yep.
And
it's a really surreal scene, because is she on top of the bridge, or is she hanging out under the bridge like she usually does?
She's under the bridge.
Under the bridge, and she sees something ducking through the high grass, and she goes off to chase after it.
And then she immediately sees him as a god from a video game he's playing, because he's got black wings. And from the Looney Tunes shit you see a second before, it almost feels like a different anime. The style just feels like it's so much more serious as she follows him. Mm-hmm. And there's just so many just like wallpaper-worthy screenshots in there.
Yes.
And it just feels, it plays probably my favorite song on the album, Hybrid Rainbow. Everything just comes together to just make a scene that's just gorgeous. And then right at the end of it, you see Mamimi's face, and it's just like a little bit back to Looney Tunes. And like, I feel like these scenes are sold so much harder because of that polarity, that like when they do go, it looks like they're going even harder.
Yeah. They bring you down so they can take it back up a notch again.
And just, I feel like the plot does the same thing here. It's just the plot is also just like, hey, we're kind of serious. And then it's just like, And now she's going to use a guitar slingshot flying on a guitar in a bunny suit. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's generally if you approach a show with, okay.
Right, but at some point you just begin to accept it. Like, this is what it is.
And it's just really fun, and all of those things are super entertaining.
Yeah, and as the story continues, you get introduced to one of Naota's classmates, Ninamori. Ninamori. She is the daughter of the mayor of the town, who is currently embroiled in an affair and some sort of legal dispute because they mention him being prosecuted.
Yeah, so something along those lines. I think they allude to or say he's a politician and just politicians doing politician stuff.
Right, regular run-of-the-mill stuff.
And she's just one of his classmates, and they're about to be doing a play. She is one of my favorite characters because I feel like she's the only person that recognizes that she dumped her baggage on Naota. And
yeah, she's the only one that seems to be actually, like, self-aware.
Yeah, I mean, she still does it, but, like, by the end of the series, it's just, like, I feel like she's one of the characters that you really see the growth outside of Naota. And even then, Naota kind of steps back, but it's a good way. He
steps back, but that step back is part of his growth.
Well, yeah, because he's stepping back to where he needs to be. Let's be real. But so he has been elected, in quotes, to play Puss in Boots in the play, and she is going to be playing the lead, whatever that is. Did he say what the lead is?
The prince. It's just the prince.
And so she's very clearly really interested in him and just kind of all on him about this play. And now he just doesn't give a shit. He's like, why would they vote for me anyway?
Right. Like, he doesn't want to be in this play. He thinks it's for little kids, neglecting the fact that he is, in fact, a little kid himself.
And I feel like we haven't touched on it entirely, but, like, that is Naota's arc. It's just like he has so many incompetent adults that he is forcing himself to act like one, even though it's not time to. And they show it in ways like that, or in the first episode, he says he doesn't like the sour ones, but drinks it anyway. I'm not sure if this is a tinfoil hat or if that's actually a thing, but it really seems like through what he drinks, they kind of show his stage and how much he's accepting adulthood, quote unquote. Right.
Yeah. No, I think you're onto something, at least, because they do circle back around to what he drinks multiple times throughout the series.
And I just things I love about it is there's the little subtleties. And so you see a lot of that overarching thing where he's just calling people kids or childish or this and that. And I'm not going to say his dad's neglectful because I'd rather call him a piece of shit.
I mean, same idea. It's the same thing.
Potato.
Right, exactly. But we neglect the fact neglected. I do words good.
You really do, though. That's the funny thing. You're the well-spoken one.
We've neglected to mention that Naota is especially perfect for this role of Puss in Boots in this episode because he has what appears to be kitty ears.
Yes, and so something else I do like about the show is like they do a good job of carrying a handful of arcs throughout it, but it's also just a monster of the day. So it's just like, what is his horn today, and what kind of monster is that going to be? Especially when he had kitty ears. It's like, hey, what's going to happen here?
Yeah, especially, the kitty ears, that reveals itself to be just an utterly disgusting monster at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah, no, it's gnarly.
Did you notice that it gets transferred to Ninamori, though, because they smack heads after?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
And so a lot of the episode is about the relationships between Ninamori and Naota, and it's one of the few that just is more genuine because she's just interested in him. She doesn't want something from him.
Yeah.
And it's also, they're just peers. They're the same age. And it's not just adults being idiots. Like, she is a kid, and she is, even the stuff that she does. I mean, she even says, like, her parents are going to be there. So they're going through a rough divorce. They practically ignore her.
They do ignore this.
Their assistant does everything.
And that's why she's so driven about this play, is like she just wants her parents to notice her.
Mm-hmm. And it really comes out with also how she's just projecting that on Naota because she wants him to notice her too. And I really love the scene. So she ends up staying overnight at his house for some reason or another. Oh, yeah, because his dad invited him. And, oh, yeah, she got a little sick. And his dad invited her, and her parents don't give a shit about anything.
No, like they don't even call her parents.
Parents are trash. I'm a dad. But so she ended up rigging the votes. And I love this scene because as crazy as the show is, I feel like this is one scene that she really sells it. Like not like Harley Quinn crazy. We're talking like just like straight up a bit of a nutbag because she's like crawling at him on the bed, just telling him that she cheated and rigged the votes because no one would expect her. And she's just like kind of like growing in intensity as she gets closer and closer to him, just like serial killer vibes. And I love it.
And then comes the interruption from the pink-haired alien girl.
Yep. And then Haruko just kills that whole mood. I was vibing, you know?
Yeah,
I think Naota was... No,
you're not sure whether she's going to kiss him or if she's going to murder him.
Exactly. And isn't that charming?
I mean, that's what I usually go for.
I'm there too. And then so later on in the episode, Naota bumps into Nina Mori again, and here comes Haruko on the Vespa. She hits him, and they do another slow motion scene. There's no cutaway this time, I don't think, though.
No, there's no cutaway.
And so this is another one. It's just like, so he's flying at her face first, and they do a slow-mo where his face gets close, and she starts blushing.
And you see hearts in the background, or it turns pink, something like you think they're going to kiss.
Yeah, it's like, oh, romantic. She's going to get her first kiss, and then just fucking bashes his face into hers.
Full-on headbutt.
And when that happens, I think there's like a red flash or something to signify that something happened between his head and hers. And so, and she is aware that he has ears during the whole bedroom scene debacle. She did call him out for having ears.
And that's why it's perfect for Puss in Boots.
Perfect for Puss in Boots. All day, every day.
Perfect. Sorry, I apologize for the pun.
If I wasn't home, I'd go home. And so the next day at school, they get to fighting, arguing because he doesn't want to do it. And she calls him out, pulls his hat off, and is just like,
well, this is perfect for you. You're putting Puss in Boots. Like, why? And then at that point, he reveals that she rigs the vote, and it just, the animation suddenly cuts to outside the window of the classroom, and everyone's just like staring at them.
Right. And then you start hearing alarms, and the ears go from him to her after he calls her out. And I don't know how to explain it. I mean, she just gets a thingy that grows out of her head, but she's still attached, and it's got four spider legs.
It's kind of like a mechanical spider sprouts from her noggin.
But also just kind of remnant of the 1980s The Thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Good call out.
Right? And so it's pretty astounding. Also, a key note, oddly enough, is that Nina Mori got sick from the curry that Naota's dad or grandpa made.
Yeah, when she stayed the night. Yep.
So they're all fighting with said monster, but Nina Mori is attached to it, so they don't really want to. I mean, they can't just start swinging. I mean, Haruko always does.
I mean, yeah, Haruko doesn't care.
But so to solve the problem, they just throw that stupid spicy curry in its mouth. It drops her, and then I can't believe it. How can I not talk about Red Canti without the fact that he turns into a gun?
Yes.
Like just next level. Like he turns into a gun, pops. I feel like they're charging rails or something that look all intestine-y. It's not gross. It sounds gross, but it's not gross. I mean, I guess in the first episode, I also forgot to mention that after Canti's done with Naota, he just shits him out.
Yeah, he poops him out. He comes out of him like soft serve ice cream.
Yeah, and he's kind of tinted brown. And Mamimi's just like, oh, why do you smell so bad?
Right. So this is a reoccurring theme.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. After all of, so they end up saving Nina Mori. Everything's all fine and dandy after that. And then at the start of the next episode, they're all playing baseball. And believe it or not, the woman who swings guitars savagely is a really good baseball player. So Naota's grandpa's the captain of one of the teams and that Naota's on. And the opposing team hired Haruko.
As a ringer.
Thank you. I was trying to think of that word as I was talking. And so really the biggest point here, I mean, baseball is mentioned, is a really big part of this series just because Naota is so infatuated with his brother.
Yeah.
Who was just amazing. He always talks about how beautiful his brother's swing was.
Yeah. How good his brother was at baseball.
Mm-hmm. And so the bigger point of this is just that Naota's never swing. He never swings. He has never swung.
And we get a good visual of that with Haruko striking him out 3 times in a row and then on the 4th time beating him in the face with the ball.
Totally on accident, too.
Yes. You can tell she was totally remorseful about that.
And again, just this is something small and dumb, but like just the way they showed him strike out, it was quick, it was concise, it told the story, and that's why they were able to just jam pack as much as I feel like every single scene is so well thought out, even if it doesn't seem like it or it can't be explained what's happening.
It all serves as a good bridge to the next moment.
Every time. So this episode is full of just, I mean, you've got a lot of people in it's just got an Evangelion vibe because you've got a whole team sitting behind a counter and a satellite's falling from space.
That you don't initially know why it's falling from space. You just get a smash cut to this facility with a dude with ridiculous eyebrows and a bunch of other people just staring at the satellite.
Imagine like 1-inch by 3-inch piece of cardboard and just gluing it to your face. And they move so funny. Like they even do with him. They even do like a cut to a South Park style animation. Yes. You know, it's just like you never know what's coming. You really don't. And it's him getting his eyebrow, asking a barber to trim his eyebrows. it's rich. But yeah, the horn in this episode, the monster of the day, is his head is just, it's got a shining dot on it, and the satellite is just falling at him specifically.
Yeah, it's functioning as a beacon.
So, really just at the peak of this episode, I mean, one noteworthy thing that happens is you do meet Eyebrows, because he has a play.
Yeah, he does, formerly known as Amurao-san, but we may just refer to him as Eyebrows.
Yeah, I mean, that's what nobody knows his real name. But so Eyebrows is just another adult trying to push his emotions on Naota, but
literally trying to make Naota into a miniature version of him.
It's gross.
He even gives him fake eyebrows.
I learned it from watching you, Dad. So at the peak of the episode, Naota's just standing on top of a building, and Haruko's telling him what's up, hands him a guitar, and says, "This is your bat." And this is just one of those things that just the animation's so perfect. So the satellite's falling, and as it breaks apart in the atmosphere, it looks like a hand. Like they make it look perfectly like a hand that spins around, throws the ball because there's a big ball inside it, and then kind of disintegrates as it goes.
Right, and as this baseball-looking satellite is coming crashing down to Earth, Haruko abandons him initially. She just bails off the side of the building.
Doesn't she say she doesn't think he'll swing?
Yeah, just in case he doesn't. She breaks the fourth wall, looks at the camera, audience, whatever, and says, "Well, if this doesn't work out, folks, sayonara." You know, something to that effect.
Yeah. And like nobody expected him to swing. Even Eyebrows, while they're watching it happen, he said, "Did he say he connected, or he swung?
He swung the bat."
And it's just a great scene because this is like the first time. Again, everybody just shits on Naota. He lets Mamimi call him Takun, and like this is the first time you've seen him just without Canti, without anyone, step up and do something. And he couldn't hit it out. Couldn't hit it away, but
not by himself. But not by himself, but thanks to the power of friendship.
Right? Haruko shows up, means the power of friendship. That didn't happen, but that's my headcanon's always there.
That's what screamed in my head. And I may have screamed that on the couch.
I can confirm. So, I mean, it's just a great end to that episode, and as it flies out, I'm a real sucker for when games or shows do the thing where something like blasts out of the atmosphere and all the clouds just peel away.
And then it cuts to Mamimi, like, he swung the bat. And that's about where the episode ends, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and I feel like I feel like for Mamimi, him swinging the bat is a bad thing, and that kind of transitions into the next one when she meets Takun. Not to be confused with Takun or Takun. Or Takun?
Takun the cat, Takun the boy, or Takun the crab-like robot.
That one. Oh, no, that's in 6, not 5. 5, we start out... 5 is just... They started out because his shitty dad... Which there's Lupin reference.
Yes.
Is dressed up as Lupin and they're playing airsoft. Is it paintball or airsoft?
Airsoft, yes.
And his shitty dad is playing for the honor of Haruko.
Mind you, his shitty dad is dressed like a Nazi. A little bit questionable on his part. But that goes into the shitty dad character.
Oh yeah, no, he rolls however he's gonna roll, and we don't like him.
You know, hitting on younger women, neglecting his son, dressing up like a Nazi, the whole thing. You know, how bad dads do.
Yeah. Hey, listen. If you're going to do something, go hard or not at all. Why would you half-ass 2 things being a whole-ass one?
So during this paintball game that Naota and his dad are having, one of the officers from this shadowy agency that was watching the satellites is actually up on a bridge on top of, like, I think it's a truck, just taking shots with an actual sniper rifle, not an airsoft gun, but like an actual sniper rifle, taking shots at Canti.
Yeah, no, it's just like while all this is going on, she's just, I think it's like a 30 cal. She is just shooting some tank busting equipment.
Yeah, she's not messing around.
at Canti. So it's just like they're clearly trying to stop Canti. And the fun thing about her is just her interaction. She's not really a big character, but her interactions with Eyebrows are great because she's just so, at one point she drinks from his cup and is so appalled that she pukes.
Yeah, she just
walks away to puke, and because he's the worst. So I feel it just especially with the airsoft thing. I mean, guns is the theme of this episode.
Yeah.
So what ends up spurting out of Naota's head this time is a giant hand, but each finger is a gun. Mm-hmm. And I love this episode. I love all the crazy stuff. I really do. But having watched as many times as I did, I'm just like, I'm about Naota. I'm on your team. And this is an episode where, Mamimi has been calling him Takun. And finally, like, he rolls up to Canti, which when he climbs into Canti, there's just these giant jaws that he walks into. Yeah. This is, again, like, a really tough scene. Like, he's just fucking badass. He's standing in the mouth of a demon, and he's just like, I'm Naota. I'm saving you.
Right. And it's the first time that, like, he does this of his own free will. Every other time, it's been at the will of someone else.
And yeah, no, that's just he's just like, I'm stepping up, I'm fixing this, and you need to know that I'm the one doing it. Like, and that's just like that was just him saying, like, you need to get your baggage off of me. And it was just such a big growing moment for him. And again, just what a tough ass kid, because he's just got like one leg in the mouth, I think.
Yeah, like he's got literally one foot in the mouth of Canti, and he's got his hand is like on the upper jaw, kind of like holding it open while he's giving this speech.
Like real Hellsing vibes. And then when the jaws eat him, we go back to cartoonish. And again, like that polarity, I love it because it's just like they eat him and then like just kind of swallow him like its lips or something. But it's just like we're back to Looney Tunes, and then he turns red, and we're not at Looney Tunes anymore. Also, while all this is going on, you find out that Eyebrows had dealt with Haruko before, and that he has a portal in his head. And again, to go with the phallic references, he can't perform. When she makes him pull a guitar out, it's tiny. It's
actually more of a guitar pick than it is a guitar.
You're stupid. I hate you. That's good. But yeah, and so it's just like the just constant jokes about him underperforming. It's just so well sold, and it
literally finish with Haruko saying that Naota's more of a man than he is.
Right, but also it's just at the end of it, she's just staring at Canti. At the actual end of the episode, Canti shits out Naota, and she's just standing on top of him in heels.
Yeah, because during that entire fight, like. Canti pulls, not only Canti with Naota in him, pulls out Adamus' guitar.
Oh, yeah, we haven't touched base on Adamus, but that's fine because they don't.
Not really. Not until
really, at the end of the day, Haruko is hitting people in the head so she can open a portal so that she can find her boyfriend, question mark?
Mortal enemy, question mark?
You know, they throw a lot at you, and like they're just like, oh yeah, Adamus, the pirate king. Wait, what? You know, it's just, you know, it's fine. So that's her goal, and that's like what she's using Naota for.
Yes.
You know, and like a lot of what she does, especially in the beginning, and you know, you do see some growth from her in that she does start to care for him. And I feel like you see remorse, so at least at one point.
Yeah, like there's a point in this episode where Naota is crying. He's hugging and crying her because they had disappeared for a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's like, you disappeared.
No, that's in the last episode, right? Oh, my bad.
Nope, that's in episode 5.
Jeez, I can't even. So that's fine.
No, I'm incorrect.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's like 1 for the year on me.
Yeah, just like a mark.
But no, hey, shit, we'll talk about it. So in the next episode, what happens is since Mamimi doesn't have a Takun anymore, she finds a little weird robot crab dog, and that's the new Takun. And she even feeds it her phone and says, are you willing to take responsibility? It was about to eat it. And she's like, no, it's got Takun's number. And then she's like, will you take responsibility? You're Takun now.
Yeah.
Because everything is. And so it eats the phone. And every time it eats something, it gets bigger. So, like, the whole episode, Mamimi's just carting this thing around. And at a certain point, you know, it's just like the size of a van. And it eats all of Naota's friends' van.
It eats Truckcoon.
Rest in peace, Truckcoon. I think it's the only time the Truckcoon didn't come out on top.
Right.
And so this thing just keeps growing and growing and growing. And at the end of the last episode, when they punctured a hole in the hand, it turned to stone and is still just sitting there. And so apparently the dog that keeps getting bigger is the core for the hand to start using medical mechanica as an iron to iron out the wrinkles so people can't think.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
That's the plot. It's good. It checks out.
I mean, it makes sense when you see it. No, it doesn't.
No,
Not at all.
It doesn't. But nonetheless, none of that matters. It's super fucking entertaining the whole time it happens. And so right after, at the end of the previous episode, Canti and Haruko just yeet, and you don't know what happened to him. And so Naota's been looking for her, and he's missed her. And then that's when we get to that lovely scene that the dog has gotten way too big, and it is like trying to combine with the hand.
Yep.
And Eyebrows is like, it's still missing the core or something like that. So Naota like goes up to her and he's crying, and she goes to comfort him. She does comfort him.
Yeah, showing some empathy for once.
Yeah, right? And it seems like a really genuine moment. And then she grabs his arm and just yeets him into the monster's mouth. Because, like, and again, like, for her, she just treats him like shit. But, like, you can see that she starts caring about him, but not enough to let him get in her way.
Yeah, she cares about him, but she still wants what she wants.
Mm-hmm. And then, so after that happens, Naota comes out looking all pink and, I don't know, electric-y, sweet. It turns out that he's absorbed the power of
Adamus. He's basically the vessel for a celestial being at this point. And
yeah.
He's dual-wielding guitars.
Double-headed guitars.
Yes.
And Haruko, and again, this just goes back to she cares, but not that much. Because as soon as it happens, like, girl, you did this. And as soon as it happens, she's just fucking pissed. And she is just, like, swinging to kill him. She's like, that's mine. Give it back. But, like, straight up, I'm going to kill you.
And it gets to the point where it looks like it's heading for the final clash, and celestial being Naota is making a beeline for her, like, coming in like a missile ready to murder her.
Like that awesome back and forth where it's just like, it shows her, and then it shows him, and then it shows her, and then it shows him more intensely.
Like, the close-ups get closer each time. It cuts back and forth between the two, and then all of a sudden he just switches back to sweet little Naota, who's blushing, and then he just looks up at Haruko super shyly and goes, I love you, and then kisses her, and the camera just pans out.
And then that's pretty much the end of the series, the end. No, really, there's just like a bit of a prologue. Haruko's Vespa apparently flies.
It does.
So she's saying goodbye to Naota and flying off, and
because she's still got to track down the space pirate king Adamus.
Right. And then Mamimi, so at the end of the episode, after all of that, the city is in ruins. So Naota goes and slings her guitar over his shoulder. He holds her guitar.
Yeah, he's standing atop the rubble holding her bass guitar.
And again, to go with just like, there's so many scenes that are just shot so beautifully, and I'm not stroking my own ego because I have a tattoo heavily influenced by that, heavily. But yeah, no, it's such an awesome scene. And then she takes a picture, and then they kind of allude to that she is getting fame via
she left
pictures.
town. She disappeared. She went off to become a photographer.
She needed to get the
And then
hell
you
out
see
of
some of her work on the front of a newspaper.
Yeah. And so, like, the final shot, though, is just goes with the drinks thing, is...
It looks like junior high age Naota and Ninamori.
Yeah, and she goes to give him drinks, and he's like, no, I don't want it. I hate the carbonated stuff. And so, like, again, tinfoil hat, I don't know. But, like, we've gone full circle where he had started drinking adult drinks, and he was just like, I don't like this, and I'm not going to drink it.
It's too carbonated. Then Ninamori goes, you're such a kid.
Yeah. And he just owns it. And that's why, you know, Shawn said it's an anti-coming-of-age story, because it's really him realizing that it's not time yet, that he can still be a kid for a little while longer. And that's the show. I, love this show. I recommend it to, all of my friends.
I recommend it to all of my weird friends.
Yes, that's a good point.
Like the theater kids, if you hung out with those.
Okay, so that was a whole lot to take in.
That's what she said.
you bastard. There's a lot of good to look at here. The series as a whole, I mean, for me, again, just because where I was in life, it really is a warm place in my heart. But the series really brings a lot to the table, and there's a lot of reasons why it's still loved today. And we're going to just address the big elephant in the room right now, and that is the damn soundtrack.
The soundtrack!
It is by far one of my favorite soundtracks ever. It's one of the only series I know that does what they did, where it is they hired a local band to do the entire soundtrack.
Yeah, this soundtrack's so good. It's the only anime soundtrack I own on vinyl.
Oh, the vinyl's beautiful, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic.
It really is that good. And I genuinely, if you've already watched the series or if you haven't, give the soundtrack a listen, you know, and then especially after listening to it, because I listen to it frequently, and then just finding the songs throughout, it's fun. I mean, it makes it more enjoyable. And again, the soundtrack just slaps. And the pillows are just fucking good.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad they got some recognition out of this, but this is more about the anime than it is the band The Pillows, although shout out to The Pillows. Go check out The Pillows.
The Pillows. The band The Pillows. And really, I mean, this show is 20 years old, guys. And so when we were talking about it in the last episode, we said top tier animation, and really it is 20 years old, but it holds up to some shows that come out today.
Absolutely. It's still very pretty. It's still very bright and vibrant, and it doesn't look dated at all.
And it's the choreography in it is all very intentional, and every fight scene just it's well placed, and the hits hit hard. I mean, the whole show, it just moves you. I mean, and really it's... Just as a whole, I mean, the whole series, it's a lot to take in. It's entertaining. And honestly, I feel like 6 episodes, that's a huge perk. It leaves you wanting, but...
Yeah, anything more than 6 episodes, and I feel like it would be too much to take in.
Yeah.
There's just... It would be draining if it were a 30-episode run like Bebop or something like that.
Oh, 100%. They died a hero, and that's exactly how it needed to be, and it's perfect at the size it is. And then really, as far as the downside to this show goes, I have trouble finding a whole lot of faults. And again, I might have a bias. I have a huge bias.
Same.
But even Naota's piece of shit dad, he's not a downside. He brings a lot to the table to make everybody else look good, you know?
Yeah, he does a lot of work making himself look terrible.
And so really, just one of the downsides is mattering on who you are. Just it is a lot to take in, and it is confusing. So I'm like three watches deep, and still it's just even less than confusing. It's just jarring because they're just like, what up, Atomisk, what up, Flying Scooter, what up. I don't know, horns.
Yeah, and having watched this as a teenager and then 20 years later, it's still jarring, but for different reasons. The things I found jarring when I was a teenager are different than the things I find jarring now.
And that's something I didn't even expect, but that's exactly what it is, too. A couple of the things stayed the same, but just as an adult, it's just like, oh, Oh.
Yeah, this is mildly uncomfortable.
You're damn Skippy. Okay, so on a scale of shame, how ashamed should you be to be watching this? Our scale of 1 to 10 today is going to be 1 being you are Naota's piece of shit dad, and a 10 being you are the god Canti. I'm going to line us up for, what do you think, Shawn?
I'm thinking a strong 5.
A strong 5. So really the reason here is there's a lot going on. And if you're watching this with somebody, I mean, you don't want to watch this with your parents.
Absolutely
There's going to be a lot of questions being asked.
Some that you probably still can't answer no matter how many times you watch it.
Exactly. If they're religious and you're underage, you may go to a camp. I don't know. And so I am not ashamed to watch this show, and I will tell anybody I love it. But there's a lot to take in, and I'm with the strong 5.
Yeah, we understand why it's divisive and why it's not for everybody.
Well, and so thanks for coming along for this ride today. I hope you guys catch us next week. We're going to be diving into a manga. It is the one manga that you have to read. If you've never read a manga, this is the one.
I don't even care if you can read. You can just look at the pretty pictures.
They are pretty or haunting, mattering on what you're looking at. But the manga is called Dawn to Dawn. If you think FLCL is out there, Dawn to Dawn will make you shit your pants.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is. And really, just try one chapter. Read one chapter, and you will know if you're on board or not. It is just unlike anything I've ever read before. It feels like anime, but it's a style unlike I've seen before. It's about ghosts and aliens and cryptids, and this poor kid who just got his dong stolen. I shit you not. So come and catch us next week for it. Like I said, Dawn to Dawn, we're going to go over the first arc. We can all check it out together. Definitely get on that and read it.
So now it's time to hide your body pillows.
Make sure to change your PC wallpaper. Don't forget you've got a presentation in the morning.
And hide your bunny girl variant figurines.
Thanks for coming today. Until next time, we'll stay low-key weebs.